Next thing I will do is I will give you a few hints for the lab, and we'll be off and running. Okay, let's go back to content first. Let me make sure I explain all the content for the rest of this. Think, there we go. On week 8, we're on the second week of Python. Okay, you got the video on Python classes, and you got the part 2. Let me, I will, if you don't have the Python, if I haven't actually put the Python samples on there, or maybe I did that last week, right? Let's check real quick. So the most fun we haven't had in this course is when I thought I did something. So let me take a look at it real quick. Video. There's your Python examples. There's your local Google. If you're looking to do something in Python, look at those. There's a bunch of examples on how to do it. You don't even have to go out on the internet. Okay, Lab 5. I need to look back at that. That's the one you had for last week. Do y'all think you need another week on that? Okay, we'll take a look at that, because what happens is if we get done, we're about to run out of these labs. I know that's a big disappointment to you. You'll have a little bit of a breathing room right after the labs are done to prep for that thing called the final and all that bothersome stuff. And I'd like to go, what's that?
Will the final be similar to the midterm?
It'll be similar to the midterm. The final does not have a project, if I recall correctly.
But it'll be the same mixture of like multiple choice and scripting?
Yes. And you'll have a test 2 also, and that'll be, I'll have to take a look at that. I'll give you some more details on that. Basically, that's from the second part of the course. Normally, I like to roll that up in the final, but with this being a scripting course, I might want to do that a little bit. I'll have to think about that. I'll also take a look through it, see if there's anything I can see on the questions. You know, I had some feedback on the last questions. I'm going to change the questions a little bit, but it was mostly a good test. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go through Lab 6 anyway. We'll take a look at it. These, particularly the one Lab 5, the long lab. Okay. Lab 6 is the right triangle. This will be the same, basically the same assignment that you had for the right triangle for Perl, except you're doing it in Python instead of Perl. And having as much fun as people had with the Perl one, I looked at this one and say, okay, what were you in for? And I looked at my solution, and it's really not that good. The Python delivers on its promise. It's a good deal less cluttered. All right, so you have your lab assignments, you have your lectures, you got one more video you need to look in. That should get you started on the lab. At this point in time, what I'll probably do, this is the end of the formal part of this. We'll have people working on their labs.
Quick question.
Yes.
Are you going to open Lab 6? Or we can't see it?
Yeah, I can take care of that right now. Yeah, that's a little bit too challenging. Okay, are you seeing lab 5 just out of curiosity?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, and it's the, I've got some of. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and edit it. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing because y'all need to edit it. I can edit it while I'm thinking about it because being over 50, I got to do that. Yeah, we don't move these back. They might start jamming into the other thing I'll have to do. Oh, and I have it right there. Okay. Okay, you should be able to see assignment 6 now. You might have to refresh your browser. Okay. Got a thumbs up from Victoria. We're good.
So lab 5's due tomorrow, and then I can
Yeah. Yeah, did y'all get that off-site? Lab 5 is due tomorrow at midnight. Need to do that so that we can kind of keep track on the class, give you a little breathing room at the end, because my guess is that towards the end, about half your professors are trying to cram in that last little bit, right?
Well,
It's like they forgot to give assignments until the last 2 weeks.
Right.
all right.
Isaac, I had the same problem actually for my whole life, but now I can blame it on age. That's one cool thing about age. Isaac said he must be over 52 because he's got to write everything down. Isaac, what you can say is that you got so many thoughts in your head that you have to write things down. That's a good way of doing that.
What are you planning on being a college student?
You're not working with me here, Ryan. Yeah, I try to tell people the reason I forget stuff is I got so much stuff in my head that it falls out. Whether or not that's good is another, is something more than a question, but it's a good story.
Well, when you're taking 4 to 5, and sometimes even 6 classes at one time, and it's a rush semester already.
Uh-huh. That's why. Oh, thank you for reminding me, Isaac, Carlos, all y'all using the Southern Super Plural. Before you log off, remember tomorrow is also the end of amnesty. It's the end of what happens up to this point if it's not one of the tests. If you're missing a lab assignment or you're missing a written assignment, get it in. I don't care what happened. You know, you had a case where we had to work a little bit with the coursework when we get started. You might say, well, I had this, that, and the other. Let's just blame it all on COVID and let's just get it in. So by tomorrow midnight, any lab or any paper you're missing, if it shows up to be graded, it is graded with no penalty for being late. It's the best deal in town. Take advantage of it.
If you don't have it, it would say 0 for missing, right?
Right. What I try to do is go back in and fill in zeros for the ones I don't have. Because one of the problems I'm running with some of y'all being online is I'm running into the problem that you might think you've turned it in and you haven't. And I'm trying to work through that too.
You said blame it on COVID, I said blame it on GitHub.
Yeah, well, you blame it on GitHub and it gets up, some poor IT guy can get the blame. I'm sure COVID doesn't care. Just like if I don't want somebody to do something, I try to find a security regulation that says you can't do it because they can't get around that. I know that's terrible, but hey. And I'm sympathetic to the 6 courses. Furman, we had a quarter system back when I went through, but, and told y'all, I took modern physics and I took Oriental philosophy in the same term. I would drive to school in the morning and I'd walk home because I forgot that I drove to school that morning. I had a German roommate. I'd walk in and he said, "Michael, would you like a ride back to the campus?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you forgot your truck again." Yeah, and what's worse is if the courses are interesting because you're sitting there thinking about it all the time too.
I
So-
always just feel like when I don't have something in here, I feel like I'm missing something.
That's a good prep for adult life. Yes.
You come to get my code, maybe
Yep.
you might see something that I'm overlooking.
Could be.
Maybe.
Maybe.
So it's the second part of the lab where you're doing all of this. So I know this works, and I know my file's getting open because I have to print out stuff from the file, and the loop works. But the issue is it's infinite looping, but it doesn't work. But it reads through everything in the file, but when I run it, it's pulling the words, but it's infinite looping through the file for some reason.
Okay. Look at your loop statement. That people voting.
That's like the file.
Mm-hmm.
And then for each element in the file, you just go and find the pattern, which is the regex statement. I tried moving the print statement out of the loop, but then it won't print anything.
Okay, so the result is printing. It's giving you it in the loop, but is it giving you the correct results for that?
Maybe.
Is it such a code that end the file?
Maybe not.
And is that an easy way to fix that?
Well, that's something you certainly should do, but.
Yeah, so it's giving me it looks like, yeah,
Yeah.
so it is giving me the right words eventually, it's just,
Okay, and the interesting thing is it's giving you blanks beforehand.
and after, some of them.
Okay, and, all right, let's solve that problem first. Let's see what, all right, people who find, find all of, I would look at find all behavior versus find. But you might be doing exactly what you tell it to, it might be pushing through the whole thing.
Don't worry, my virtual machine suddenly decided it's going to make it so that 25% of the screen instead of full screen.
That doesn't help.
It says, it says read has no attribute find.
Okay.
You see, what I would do in this case, Brian, is I'll go hit the Google, and I look at how how those commands are defined and all the switches for. And the next thing I do is I look at your, I look at how you go through the file, and I look at sample code factors. I don't know where you put it, I expect if you're doing numbers, that you would have a I++, but I don't see how you fit that. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
That's the general direction I go. And what happens, you may not have an infinite loop, but if you have it where it's going through the whole file every time you say you go through the line, then it looks like an infinite loop. Because it won't stop until about 20, 30 minutes later. We'll see what happens. Well, if it's plastic there, they should prep for.
What is this? I have the top left corner of my screen.
Sounds like it's not sizing too well.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes it is. That's just to whet your appetite and get your expectations up so we can crush them later.
I think they were just, making them back to it.
Yeah, well, I sometimes wonder if computers have already achieved consciousness and they don't like us. They are rebelling. Sound familiar? Rebelling against their creator.
I have Alexa in my room with, like all my lights and stuff in my room are smart,
Mm-hmm.
capable, and the other day I turned the light switch on and the light's flashing
Mm-hmm.
instead of just staying on constantly. It took like an hour to get it to stop doing that.
Yeah, my thing is, if you automate something to save time, you spend more time fixing the automation than you did if you would have done this thing by hand. Does it really help you?
Well, it was a lot of fun and dandy until my dad decided to switch the Wi-Fi password. Then I had to completely redo everything.
Yeah, I have a procedure at work I do because if I change N-1 as passwords on some of them, I end up locking all of them out. Me being a system guy, everybody's mad with me when I show up the next day for work. Yeah, I was originally going to give you 2 weeks on that first assignment, and I looked at it, it's like, okay, there's no install for Perl, and it's not that complicated an assignment. I don't think I went back and changed all the places. And then, like I said, that gives us more time at the end of the semester, because the way we're doing this, we're actually, most of you tonight are working on the lab from last week. Well, somewhere before the end of the course that has stopped, because we can't be working on the lab for the end of the course a week after the course is done. So what's the verdict, Ryan?
Well, I figured out the issue.
Yeah,
It's definitely my loop, not defined at all.
okay.
It's looping through everything, and when it prints the empties, those are ones that it doesn't match.
Mm-hmm.
So, I gotta find a way to print just the ones I'm looking for, not the empty spaces. So I guess it could be defined all, but I don't know. I looked it up and there's not really another command that would work for that, I don't think.
Okay, well, the thing about it is, those empty spaces, these should not have been printed out to start with, right?
Right.
So maybe you have an if loop that says if it's not empty printed out, you have an if statement, or yeah. You know, it sounds like Google Python, Python find all, don't return if no match, or something like that. Don't return, skip empty set.
It is find all. It says empty matches are included in the result.
Okay, is there a switch that says you can switch those off?
You know, how not to include empty results in find all is how I Google it.
I know, Victoria, that's quite a change of paradigm, instead of saying, I don't want you to use Google, I tell you how to find it.
That's because this is for if you're in a work setting. Your previous instructors have showed you how to be self-resourceful and all that, they've done a good job. I don't need to reinforce that any further.
I mean, half of doing my job when I was fixing computers was Googling what was wrong with it.
Yeah, my favorite IT meme is the one that shows a bear and it says, I'm IT, I don't know the answer to your problem any more than you do, I'm just better at using Google than you are. So what'd you do different?
So I basically, instead of, trying to just, I just put an if loop, basically.
So that it's empty, ignore it?
Well, I said if, so I found this guy's, code on, Stack Overflow, and he said use the recompile for your pattern. So I did the recompile, and then I could say if it matches, because this is, I guess, compiled project, basically. If it matches the word, print it. And it seemed to work. It didn't print near as many things, and most of them not. All of them.
Okay, well, if you did a random sample, see, the thing about auditing, and that's what you're getting into, auditing, you can generally not check everything.
Right.
So what an auditor learns is learn to have a nose for the problem.
Yeah.
What happens is, this is, if you have it where it says AAA and AEA and a couple other things, it's probably working properly.
Right. That's working to me.
Okay.
Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Walker, how you coming? Okay, yeah. Sometimes taking a deliberate attack is better than just hacking away at the code. All right, see you later.
Yes, sir.
All right, all done?
Well, kind of, sort of, not really.
You gotten to a point?
I've gotten to a point.
Okay,
And I'd rather drive home now than later on tonight, so.
yeah, well, and it may be cooler at home and the internet may work better.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, the main thing, if you think you've got to the point where you can carry it on by yourself, then,
Yeah, I think I'm confident in my mom is by home,
oh, okay,
so last resort I can call her and try it.
yeah. Well, I don't have that advantage. None of my parents know. Matter of fact, my parents were really old when computers became a thing, so.
Well, both my parents can do it. My dad's gonna be out of town soon, but.
Yeah. Okay, well, as long as you got a plan. You too. Okay? Okay?
Okay, do you have the 5 pound sample, downloaded? Just looking there, see if there's something I can help with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what happened in this particular case, Walter, I can't find my copy of this, so I'm up there doing it myself. So what may be useful for you is that I'm more attuned to the process of how I got that.
Only time free, it's like a report that needs, that searches for words repeatings after that.
Yeah, I just found that when I'm about to plug it in. Let me show you what I'm plugging in, see if that helps you. You know, do that like before, you can stop the minute. Okay, you go on the content. Okay, you take a little, what is it? Go all the way up to the top of that window, are you there? Look to the side. Or, that's pretty. There you go, there you go. Go up there, you see there's some content. Okay, week 7. Python examples, there you go. That's a good file. I'm hoping to talk about one to go back. Can you do it in Python? Okay, start, let's, scrolling through and look for something that says something like file IO. File something. Then how about text file IO? All right, and this is where I was at a few minutes ago. When I look at the one first one, it says searching all the input files from single call to read, write it out to the output. Okay, that's kind of neat, because that takes care of what you do. You don't want to start the whole thing in, because you want to do all the passes in without line. So if you look at that, starting 23. Okay, rather than just write it out, if you have it where it only writes it out as a match, if you maybe treat it as a sign. If you, okay, right, you see what I'm telling you? Okay, so instead of writing it out a line at a time, you can write it out a line at a time, it's 150 lines, you don't have 3 vowels in a row, right? So that would be, I would cut and paste that into yours, and then I would find out where you want to put the regular expression, to get where it only turns it out as a regular expression. And you should be able to call it a night, right? Okay, you still want to read in that line. You still want to stay the line and blame, break, right away, I look at it, that works. You want to put a net roof on, you want to put a net condition on that print. You want to print out if there, it's got 3,000.
So that's what you're,
How's that? Okay, a little bit of history might help you. I got this from Dr. Sessions. I started working the examples. My column was back as you pull an example, and examples out of there. What happens is you give me some examples to go by, that's the first thing I did. You see that that was pretty much it. You took that, took regular straight, and said, oh, I want to print it out, it's got 3,000 words.
So you just gotta do, you put that in there, you figure out how to leave your aardvarks behind, you're fine. Okay.
All right, Walker, now that I figured it out, I can show you how to do it. That's how long it took. I started from scratch when I first started. And I guess what was happening was after the test, I was thinking, how could we speed you up a little bit? It looks like you have grasp of everything, it just takes you a long time to do the code.
Yeah.
What are you planning to do what is your plan in IT field?
Anything in cybersecurity.
Okay,
So
all right, so you're probably not gonna be busting code all day, but I will tell you it helps. But one of the things I'm doing at work is I'm using scripts to run security things. So, question is how to get you a little quicker on this. You see what I did with you're not gonna have necessarily a download, but you get out what it's doing, but it's still the same idea. The next thing is you're already doing it. The first thing you did was you found what expression you needed. That's good. But what you did was you went right to the heart of it. What's the hardest part of it? Okay, figuring out that synchrony expression. Now what happened was I looked at her, what I did was the same thing you did. I said open file for reading, open file for writing. And then I had it loop through a line at a time. And one thing about it is when you open a text file, you can either read in the whole thing at once or you can read it in a line at a time. Do you understand why I chose this time to do a line at a time?
you can all those lines. It's not enough. No.
Right, if you leave, each line has a word on it. And what happens if you're reading all the lines at one at a time, then you don't have the madness of having to print out the word. You just do that line and skip the other ones. So, looking at the code that you found, you understand how that reads in a line at a time, and how that exits a line at a time. And did you have to put an import in yours to get the read to work?
And I'm looking for manufacturing, looking up how to do it and stack everything on it. I've noticed in the code examples that all have import read.
Yep, I didn't notice that, I just figured it out. Okay, so you got that, let's see what other fun I had with it. I had the other fun that I forget to change my variables when I copy and paste code, and I'm sure you passed that. So how are you doing?
Still good. Instead of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And then see if it works.
Okay, looks like you're making really good progress. Huh?
That's the new way of referring to it. They prefer, what they're saying is go to that environment and look up Python. There's I believe there's a file in there called environment. It tells where to find everything. It's the same as /user/bin/Python. It's the same thing.
Do you know range on code? If you're in, you can hold and type on and set a file with it.
Okay, go back in, go back to your file. Okay, put Python and free it in Python. So free it. Right. Okay, by the way, that first one, when I had those two links about, and this is from Python 2 and 3, that's one of the ones that were included. Before we set up free one.
16 megabytes. So I'm moving to
Now, let's go back to it. If it's a line and empty, you want it to break, right? Okay, the line may not be empty, but if you find all, maybe it's empty. So you don't want to put it else there, you know that it's there.
user full expression output strengthen.
You got, what happens is, you got regular expression, you either assign that a variable, then you need to test the variable.
And do all that in the statement.
I define the variable and then I use a separate if statement.
So define it at the top. Or
I define it right there in the loop because it changes every time. And what I said was string found or whatever, result equals, RE.find all the alphabet soup.
Then I said, now, remember we had the discussion of truthiness and falsiness? If you don't find anything, it's false. If you find something, it's true.
so there's the variable.
Mm-hmm.
Will include the variable in the strength and how far off from the variable line.
Yeah. You say print out pattern, comma. Well, you can say line, that works. Actually, you won't want that line because you want the whole line, because you want the whole word.
So just put that on the line.
You don't need that, you just print out file out line, you don't need a comma.
So there's print out the line.
No, because the pattern is just going to be part of that matrix, you're going to print the line, not the pattern. You want a separate if statement.
Good.
Okay, you say pattern equal. Okay, right now, the way you have it, it's going to print out all the ones, it's going to print out all the lines, whether or not they have the pattern. You have to test for the pattern, and if it has the pattern, print out the line.
So I need to say under the
Right.
big lines. But
Yes. Don't forget the colon, so I did that. Actually, it was good that I didn't have this, because in the process of doing it, it's like, okay, how did I come up with this to start with? If you're finding it out, you're figuring it out eventually, what we want you to do is be able to figure it out quicker. I mean, I don't mind staying here till 11, but I think you've got better things to do, and I think it's a little frustrating for you.
it's just frustrating when I get confused, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Okay, well, what you did right on this one, is you figured out our, you figured out the regular expression. Okay, how did you come up with that regular expression? Okay? You know, you can put that in reg XR, and you can test it and see if it actually works. That's what I'm doing on the front. The website I showed you? Or you can just run it to get the first time, it works and rotate. Yeah, do that, see what happens. Get the reg XR. What you can do is where you got a test there, you can put that out and put a good drop a good portion of your valve.txt. You can put that regular expression there and highlight all the ones that match. How about that?
So delete all this in the text.
Yeah, control A, delete.
And then insert and
Mm-hmm.
that can be all of it, or just
These are part of it. I go at least, I go quite a ways because I'm doing it on the A's, I'm not trying to do matches. This is what I'm doing up on the room right now.
Yeah, it doesn't take it won't take the whole file.